Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, hi. How's everyone doing? Oh, so what are we reacting to?
Well, we are going to do a reaction to Barbara Walters being a total bitch
Oh,
to
there
Dolly
should
Parton.
be thousands of videos of that, right?
Right, but this is specifically to Dolly Parton
Dolly Parton.
back in the 70s.
That's some Dolly Parton right there.
Oh, yeah.
9 to 5. Oof. Yeah, 9 to 5. You know,
So,
country
right.
music legend Dolly Parton for the.
Now, I do have to apologize for the beeping. That is the sound of my ankle monitor. It's a funny story, really hilarious. Unfortunately, due to the judge's orders, I'm not allowed to talk about it. So it's got to be kept a secret.
Have you talked to Charlie Sheen since the incident?
You know, Charlie Sheen will not return my calls. When he says you're crazy, that's a bad fucking sign.
Yeah, believe me. But
All right.
anyway, Barbara Walters acting like a total bitch to Dolly Parton.
Yes. And we are going to react to it.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
No, we're going to do some earbuds here so that it doesn't pick up on the mic.
Right.
Because we are high tech here at the Doc J compound. All right.
Please let me know.
And
Let's start at the beginning.
Okay. I was born in a little log cabin, on the banks of the Little Pigeon River. And, of course, at that time, we only had 3 other children. There's 12 children. There's 8 younger than me.
Dolly, where I come from, would I have called you a hillbilly?
If you had of, it would have been something very natural, but I would have probably kicked your shins or
Hell
something.
yeah.
No, actually.
But when I think of hillbillies, am I thinking of your kind of people?
I think you probably are. The people that grew up where I was were the ones that you would consider
when
the
I
little
think of
Abner
stuck-up
people,
bitch,
Daisy May, and that's
I think of
they
you
took
and your
that
people.
kind of thing from people like us. But we were very proud people with a lot of class. It was
That's
country class, but it was a great deal of class.
See, that's a good quote.
Most of
She's being
my
classy.
people were not that educated, but they are very, very intelligent. Good common sense, horse sense, we called it.
Dolly, you said, and maybe you were talking about when you were a kid, you said, I felt that I never belonged. I felt I was always different.
I wanted more than to just be a farmer's daughter, even though I'm proud to be. I just wanted pretty things. I wanted money to buy the things that I had always been impressed with as a child. I wanted
Different.
Yeah, that's Loretta Lynn.
Yeah.
I guess to be a
Yeah, she
star.
Dolly, did you look
She's
like
still
this
alive.
when you were a
Is she?
kid?
Yeah.
Not
Oh.
quite.
I mean, you didn't
Almost
have the blonde wig, but when you
No.
went into school, when you were 11, 12, 13, was it this about you?
Well, you mean the full figure?
No, she did not have
Yeah,
double
I thought
D's
that's what you
at
meant.
11.
Well, actually,
Maybe
I've
she did,
always
huh?
been pretty well blessed. As a child, I grew up fast. Other members of my family, have done the same.
My assistant asked me something, and I'm going to blame it on her because I wouldn't have had the nerve otherwise.
Pussy.
Is it all you?
Well, I can't show you here on television.
I'll take your word
All right.
for it.
At least she was
Asked that
nice about it.
question.
She
I
didn't get all
always
offended.
answer that by because people.
Now, if that was a
are in
guy who
awe
asked
of
her,
the whole
right.
thing. A lot
It
of
would have
people
been
say I
different.
have. A lot of
She
people
probably wouldn't say
say I haven't. I
She's a
always
woman,
say
not a
that
fucking
if I
child.
hadn't have had it on my own, I'm just the kind of person that would have had me some maid if I hadn't needed it.
But you mind standing up? We saw you on stage and all that filming.
Well,
I want
this is
people to
not
see what-
really.
I'm
I'm
not.
Stand up, do a little spin for us, darling.
That's not bad.
But
That's her
whatever.
idea of not all that good. Do you give your measurements?
No,
see why
I always
everybody's
just say that I weigh 120.
You don't have to look like this. You're very beautiful.
You don't have to look like that either, Barbara
You
Walters.
don't have to wear the extreme clothes, right?
She's not wearing extreme
No,
clothes.
it's certainly a
She's wearing a
choice.
blue
I don't
dress.
like to be like everybody else. I've often made this statement that I would never stoop so low as
She's
to be
showing less
fashionable.
skin
That's
than
the
Barbara
easiest
Walters
thing in the
is.
world to do. So I just decided that I would do something that would at least get the attention. Once they got past the shock of the ridiculous way I looked and all that, then they would see there was a parts of me to be appreciated. I'm very real where it counts, and that's inside. And as far as my outlook on life and the way I care about people and the way I care about myself and the things that I care about. But I just chose to do this, and show business is a money-making joke, and I've just always liked telling jokes.
But do you ever feel that you're a joke? that people make fun of you?
hell.
Oh, I know they make fun of me, but actually, all these years, the people, has thought the joke was on me, but it's actually been on the public. I know exactly what I'm doing, and I can change it at any time. Or I make more jokes about myself than anybody,
Right.
because I enjoy. I know, like I say, I am sure of myself as a person. I'm sure of my talent, and to me, and I'm sure of my love and for life and that sort of thing. I'm very content. I like the kind of person that I am. So I can afford to piddle around and diddle around with makeups and clothes and stuff because I am secure with myself.
Good answer.
That is a good answer.
When you talk to me, and we've talked a little bit today, do you feel that we're very different?
Not so much, because I feel we came from different places, different backgrounds.
Sure did.
But I really can relate to you in many ways, probably more than you might relate to me. But
No, I felt the same thing. I mean, I think that if people took the two of us together, we are very different women, and yet I relate to you very easily.
well, I
love
think
that.
that's that.
As a
driving us.
maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think we're both
basic
very
experience. I don't know.
positive. We're both positive, and we're both determined.
Dolly
and
makes her living
stubborn about
producing
things we
music,
believe in.
making people laugh, and
Listen, tell me
whatever.
about this marriage of yours. This man whom
She
nobody
makes her
ever
life
seems to
on
see.
gotcha
We've heard that he
moments.
was here.
Right.
We've heard that he was in town, but none of us have seen him. Paul Dean, you don't see him very much. You're on the road most of the time. You've said, I know that this marriage will always last. This man gives me everything I need. How do you know?
Well, I need freedom. The man gives me freedom.
So why
And
get
and
married?
well, why not?
Why? I mean, if
Why
you want
be
most of his
married?
freedom, why have a husband
No, I don't
tucked
mean-
away someplace to see 6 weeks
So
a year?
apparently,
He has
she
the
thinks the
same
husband.
freedom. See, the thing of it is, you don't
Let's
find a
pause.
person that you can be happy.
Apparently, she thinks a husband is someone who locks you in a fucking room. Well, my husband gives me freedom. Well, then why be married? He lets you out of the room?
It doesn't make sense. What she's trying to say gives me freedom. She has freedom to do her shows, and she goes out on the road, and he knows that. He's not like, well, you need to stay here and everything.
Right.
He's letting her be her, she's letting her be Dolly Parton.
Yep.
He doesn't have
He
to control
loves
everything.
her, so he wants to be with her, not turn her into something else.
Right.
happy with, and that can accept you the way you are and can share the things and to plan for the future and to enjoy your home. We have our foundation, we have our roots, we have all the things that everybody's looking for, and that's happiness in a marriage.
Well, what about when you're on the road, weeks at a time? No temptations?
Well, I didn't say that we never had temptations.
Well, when you
There's
have these temptations, does anything happen that he could be jealous of?
No, not really, because he's the kind of person, and I'm the kind of person that if by being apart, if we should meet somebody, I would never tell him. He would never know, and it wouldn't hurt him. And it's the same way with him. I wouldn't want to know it. As long as he loves me and as long as he's good to me and as long as we're good to each other, I don't think that it happens. But I'm just saying I wouldn't want to pry in it. I've got better things to do than to sit around in my room thinking, oh, what's Carl doing tonight? I wonder if he's with somebody and this and that.
I don't know too much about country music. But
Oh,
what I
shit.
did know about you before we met was that you'd started and still are with the Grand Ole Opry, that you'd been with a very prominent country music singer named Porter Wagner for 6 years. You worked with your family, had the whole band together. And then in the last year, goodbye, Porter Wagner, a Hollywood, new Hollywood agent, goodbye to the family band. And I hear the folks back home saying, she's gone Hollywood. Dolly's changed, or Dolly might change. Not that she's changed yet. Tell us about all that.
Well,
Porter Wagner
actually,
changed her.
I think a lot of what I'm doing musically has been distorted quite a bit with so much press, and dwelling on the same thing. I'm not making a crossover from country to pop. I'm trying to be accepted in the pop field as well as the country field. I feel my music is its own music, just like I'm my own person. I mean, I write them, I sing them,
that's a
I have
good
my
answer.
own way of singing them, my own way of doing it.
Yeah.
And as a business person, I like to think that there's more money to be made than the money I've been making. I've been working too hard, too
Right.
long, for too little.
What do you make? What did you make as a country star?
Well, I made a great deal. I usually don't, I would probably make the most money that I've made as a country artist would probably be maybe $500,000-$600,000 a year. But that's, you got to pay expenses and this sort of thing. Of course, that's not counting records and that sort of thing. But when you say that you can make millions compared to thousands,
Mhm.
And if you are going to be in this business, if you are talented, if you do love it, then why not touch as many people? My dream was always to make as many people happy as I could in this life.
Okay, so a wider audience, more of a pop
wider
audience.
I want to be able to walk in any place and say, well, that's Dolly Parton.
And be known everywhere.
Be known by the people. There's Dolly. She's, she's got good songs, and, or she's different, or this and that.
A
As
rock
a personality. Star? Well, I want to be a star, a universal star.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to be a superstar. I guess all people dream of that. So in order to be a superstar, you can't be just a superstar in one area. That means you have to appeal to the majority of people. And that's what I'm trying to do.
That was the longest one that they had on YouTube.
Well, I think they trimmed that last part down.
Yeah. She was pretty classy. I think a lot of the questions being asked were aimed. Why have a husband? You never see your husband. Like, it's like she was reaching for a gotcha. Like, ha ha ha.
Right. It was like, well, what happens on the road, he doesn't know about. Like, it wasn't like that, but she gave an honest answer. She did about the whole, if I was doing anything, I wouldn't tell him, and he wouldn't find out. If he was doing anything, I wouldn't want to know either. I got better things to do than worried about what he's doing all the time. And that's an honest answer. I mean, it sucks when stuff like that happens, but if you really love somebody, then you shouldn't do it in the first place.
I mean,
if he truly loves her, he wouldn't fool around on her, right?
She went after Dolly's looks right away.
What was so outrageous about her looks?
She's got big titties.
I mean, you couldn't even tell what the fucking shirt she had on.
She got big old titties. And she wears a big old wig. Okay. Then she went after her. Oh, no, I'm sorry. First it was, are you a hillbilly? That's rude.
It's very rude.
And then, why do you look the way you look? Okay. And then it was your husband in your married life. Aren't you a dirty whore? Then it was, well, you used to be with Porter Wagner, and now you left him and you've gone to Hollywood. Now you're turning your back on country. And then, okay, so you want to be a superstar. When do you think that's going to happen? And that's when it cut off. Like, did she honestly have anything to say that was not negative?
No, she didn't. She didn't. Oh, we need to. There was one where I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. I kind of not really getting off topic here, but Jimmy Kimmel. As soon as Jonah Hill, he's from Superbad,
right?
And, all those like comedy movies, and he's always the what do we call it? The fat funny guy,
yeah.
Or I guess that's a way to label him as. It's not very nice, but that'd be like he's a big funny guy, right? Like John Candy or Chris Farley or somebody like that. And as soon as he sits down in the interview chair to talk, I believe Jimmy Kimmel, he asked him. He said, how does it feel to be, how does it feel to lose all the way? Are you no longer the fat guy in Hollywood, the fat funny guy in Hollywood? And Jonah Hill was like, he was like, well, I'll try to not take that as a jab at me, but and it kind of went off. But he was like, how does it feel not to be the fat funny guy in Hollywood anymore?
Some people have no fucking manners.
It's just a rude way of asking people, like, something's changed on you, and now we're going to point it out. We're going to be it's whatever. But I didn't think there was anything wrong with anything answers she said. She was honest. She's well spoken. She's an intelligent woman.
She's very classy.
She's very classy, and she was like, and I think Barbara tried to point out for her clothes. What was she wearing that was so provocative? I mean,
she was dressed nice.
She was dressed nice.
Bright colors, big flower.
She's pretty.
She had a belt thing around her waist. When she stands up, makes her boobs pop or look bigger, or show off how big they are.
But that doesn't have any change in what these girls go on the TV show wear now.
Right. I mean, this is same time period as Charlie's Angels.
Really? So Farrah Fawcett would be.
Farrah Fawcett would have been like that same time period.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hell, look at what Cher was wearing. Do you think Barbara Walters would have been like, so Cher, why do you wear those tight clothes and long slits in your dress to show off your legs? No, she wouldn't, because Cher is a different type of person. She went in there wanting her audience and her specific crowd to poke fun and laugh at someone who's different and feel superior. That's all it was. Barbara Walters fucking did that she does that on The View. Or she did that on The View before she retired. Look at Norm Macdonald anytime he's on The View, and they're just shitting all over him.
That's because they can. People are different. Hell, I mean, you can get some any country singer goes on there, and they'll be like, "Well, your music sounds funny because you talk like this." Because every Southern person talks like this, and Dolly does have an accent, but doesn't mean that she's stupid.
Right.
I mean, hell, look at some of people's favorite rappers now are like, from Texas. They're from the South. They're like Atlanta.
Now, if you take the same mentality and you apply it to, say, Ben Carson being from inner city Detroit, growing up in the projects, being poor, if you were to treat him the way they were treating Dolly Parton, you'd be called a racist.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily that you'd be racist, you'd just be a rude prick.
Right.
But, and then once he joined a political party, he went from being someone they hold up to be proud of to someone to make fun of. Because
and any comedy people they're gonna poke fun at anybody.
Used to, you made fun of everyone. Now there are certain people you can make fun of, certain people you cannot make fun of, and certain people you're not allowed to compliment because comedy is dead. All right. Well, we are hoping to do some more reactions. Do some on my channel, do some on his channel. We'd include Panda, but he put out one video and he already got banned from every platform. The words that come out of his mouth, I declare.
But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and follow him on Twitter. All that stuff. Follow me on Twitter and everything. We'll put all those links in the description below. So thank y'all and have a good one.